Few modern comforts are as universally taken for granted as toilet paper. Yet behind this humble role lies a surprisingly global and occasionally horrifying story of human ingenuity. For most of history, the simple act of staying clean was anything but simple. And people around the world came up with wildly different ways to manage hygiene before soft tissue became standard. Long before the first paper roll appeared, the ancient world had its own creative, if unsettling, solutions. In ancient Rome, public latrines were social places, rows of stone benches with holes, where citizens sat side by side. Instead of paper, Romans used a tersorium, a sponge attached to a stick. After use, it was rinsed in salt water and left for the next person. Shared hygiene was part of civic life, but it was also a perfect breeding ground for disease. Far to the east, China pioneered something radically new. As early as the 6th century CE, records describe paper being used specifically for bathroom purposes. By the 14th century, during the Ming Dynasty, imperial factories in Zhejiang were producing millions of sheets of toilet paper for the emperor's court large, perfumed and surprisingly soft by the standards of the time. Meanwhile, the rest of the world still relied on more primitive methods. In medieval Europe, hygiene was a less delicate affair. Most people used hay, rags, moss, or straw, and wealthier households might reach for discarded wool or linen scraps. Sailors at sea favored old ropes, while farmers used corn husks or cobs. In colder regions, snow occasionally did the job. In Japan, people used small wooden sticks called shugi. In parts of the Middle East, in India, cleansing was done with water and the left hand. A custom still practiced today as a hygienic and sustainable method. The arrival of printing in Europe brought an unexpected new material to the bathroom: recycled paper. By the 18th century, people were repurposing everything from newspaper to pages torn from outdated books. In fact, some historians believe that old almanacs were the first mass-produced toilet reading materials, literally. Outhouses often kept last year's almanac hanging from a nail, ready for both reading and wiping. It wasn't until the 19th century that toilet paper as we know it was born. In 1857, Joseph Gattier, a New York entrepreneur, marketed Gatti's medicated paper, sheets of aloe-infused paper sold in flat packages. He claimed it prevented hemorrhoids and other ailments, advertising it as a health product rather than a luxury. However, it was expensive, about $1 for 500 sheets, and slow to catch on. The real breakthrough came in 1890, when brothers Clarence and E. Irvin Scott introduced toilet paper on a roll, perforated for convenience and discreetly packaged for stores. Their product, Scott Tissue, turned a taboo topic into a booming industry. By the early 20th century, toilet paper had become a household necessity in industrialized nations, though even then, many rural areas continued to rely on catalogs, newspapers, or whatever nature provided. The spread of indoor plumbing and flush toilets further cemented toilet paper's dominance. By the 1920s and 1930s, companies like Charmin and Northern began marketing their paper as not only functional, but luxurious, soft, white, and scented. In an age obsessed with hygiene and modernity, toilet paper became a symbol of progress. Still, not everyone embraced the paper revolution. Across much of Asia, Africa, and the Middle East, water-based methods like the bidet or handheld sprayer remained preferred for both cultural and practical reasons. Even today, the world is divided between wipers and washers, a reminder that bathroom habits are deeply shaped by geography, culture, and infrastructure. In modern times, toilet paper has continued to evolve from recycled and bamboo-based rolls to the brief but chaotic toilet paper shortages of the COVID-19 pandemic, when panic buying turned an everyday object into a global obsession. The episode served as an ironic reminder of how something invented for royal courts became an indispensable part of ordinary life. So the next time you unroll a soft, embossed sheet, consider the journey it took to get here. From sponges and sticks to perfumed imperial paper, from corncobs to cardboard tubes. In its own strange way, toilet paper tells the story of civilization, how comfort, cleanliness, and culture often begin in the most private places.